Gonna go over what happened when we first got here with the porcupine and the dogs. It's gonna be a grizzly narrative, so that's why I'm including this one separate. So if people don't want to hear it, that's fine. That top of this roof here is a collapsed building. It's an old cabin from the two owners ago. This guy, Mr. Lauer, made a camp down here, and now it's fallen into the earth, and creatures took home under there. One was a porcupine, as my dogs found out. So we weren't here 10 minutes before we heard one of them start screaming. Dogs can scream, especially when they try to eat porcupines. And Denver came running. I was calling Shawnee. My dog's super trained. He didn't come, so he couldn't come. They were trapped under there. And Missy was yowling like all hell. And long story short, we got some tools, broke in, got my dog out. He had quills in his snout and his paw. I had told Denver it's a porcupine. It's a porcupine. I pinned Shawnee down. He was freaking. I was able to. They were small. They were only like an inch or so. They were coming right out. So I was pulling them out with my hands, and he was whimper, but he kind of took off. And then Denver had gotten behind me and was calling Missy, and she came around the corner, and my son's voice. I thought we were going to be looking at a dead dog when I heard the tone of his voice. He said, "Oh my God, Missy, come here." Her face was a pin cushion. You could hardly see her snout. She's trying to lick, and her tongue came out. It was like a cactus. I pinned her. She was starting to. What had happened was starting to set in. The pain was starting to take over, and she was losing it. So I got her on the ground, bleeding pretty bad, and I felt so bad for my son, but we had to do what we had to do. So I told him, go get in my tool belt, go get the players. I'll hold her. And he ran over, got him, and then he come here. I told him, he just followed directions. He was my best ball player for years, my best worker forever. We're used to working together in all kinds of situations, stress, fun, all sorts of stuff. So we got to it. He held her down, made a fist with his hand, put it in her mouth so she couldn't clamp down. And when he opened her mouth and saw it, he almost started crying. He said, "We got to get her to emergency. We got to get her to the hospital right now." He said, "We can't. We have to take care of this here." So we did. I'm on our knees. It took about 45 minutes. I had my knife in my pocket, and with that, sometimes I had to ease out the edge of a quill. But one by one, we got him out of her tongue, out of her mouth. It was tough to see. Once they started coming out and she could close her mouth a little bit, she started really calming down. And then we heard Shawnee jingling, which means he's shaken off from coming out swimming, which is a good sign. He had gone over in the beaver pond taking a swim, and he felt better. He came up and sat with us, and he seemed to be okay. Then all of a sudden, he just started losing it, rolling around, freaking, yowling. He had pulled quills out of somewhere, and they were now in his mouth. I had tackled him, reached in, pulled 4 big quills out that were stuck on his tongue. And that was it for him. I think that was literally all he had. He went for the checkup, and they didn't find anything. Missy was once we got her freed up of everything we could. She drank probably 2 quarts of water. We fed the dogs. She was still wagging her tail, and we felt like things might be okay at some point in the future. So that was 10 minutes into Homestead, and we just rolled up. The doors were still open, the engines were ticking, and now we had to get dogs to emergency quickly on Memorial Day at night. So Denver called around. There was one in Albany, there was Rochester. So he said, let's go to Rochester. It's not like life and death at the moment. So that's what we did. Got a drink, got some quick food. He took the dogs back to the city. And the wonderful people at Veterinary Emergency Services there on White Spruce Boulevard really stepped up and really helped Missy. She went under. They removed dozens of quills, had to do some incisions, and she was much, much better. Gave her some antibiotics, and that was it. So the first 24 hours was pretty hairy, but it seems to be everything's okay. The dogs are fine. Shawnee, they love Shawnee. You'll get to know Shawnee through these videos. Everybody loves Shawnee. They love Shawnee so much they didn't even charge him for the visit. Missy's back at the hospital this morning. Denver's pulled out another half dozen quills, and she's abscessing some places. And we don't really care what it costs. We want that dog healthy and the best care. So that's what's going on. I'm going to head back to the city and meet them, pick up my baby. We've never been apart like this. And come back after a nice fresh shower and some more fresh water and recharge battery and see what's going to be dished out next, because we can take it, man. This is a blast. Hope you guys keep joining us. Cronia Homestead. Till later.